Hi friends, in the last class we have discussed regarding the introduction. So now I am going to explain the primary divisions of surveying as we discussed in the last class. We have two primary divisions of surveying. Primary divisions of surveying. So we have two primary divisions of surveying. So whereas first one is the plain surveying, second one is geodetic surveying. And I have told you people that these plain surveying and geodetic surveying both are the primary divisions which are based on which are dependent on curvature of earth. As I discussed in the last class, what is the curvature of earth and how we can see the curvature of that. So now we will discuss what is the plain surveying and what is the geodetic surveying. So first we look into the plain surveying. So see here, we have discussed in the last class two examples that for suppose if you want to see a particular land or an area, we can observe a flat surface instead of observing the curved surface of earth. But now here, the plain surveying and geodetic surveying are two different types of surveys in which plain surveying is only deals with flat surfaces. But whereas this geodetic surveying deals with curved surfaces. So this is very important. Now I am going to say you people that first suppose if you want to measure a particular distance over the surface of the earth, that you can observe. See here, let us consider that this is a part of earth surface. Where by using some linear measurements, if you people want to calculate the length of a particular points, let us take this is some point A and this is some point B. As we discussed, naturally the ground is having some surface. So therefore, if you measure the distance between any 2 points, this distance is a curved distance, which is in case of geodetic surveying. But whereas if in case of plain surveying, what happened in a sense, as I told you that plain and geodetic all deals with flat surfaces and curved surfaces. So when you take the curved surface, actual practice, there the length is the curved length. Length between A and B points is the curved length. But whereas when we come to the plain surveying, so where I have told you that in plain surveying, it deals with the flat surfaces. Even the same A and B are occupied at the same locations on the same ground, but in which we take the length between these A and B is the straight length, not the curved length. So this is what the difference actually bonded here. So because of these two things, whenever we consider the actual shape of the ground, so the length would become the more when compared to the same length that is measured between same points is different. So let us take this is L1, let us consider this is L2. So therefore L1 is always greater than this L2. Okay. So now I will tell you. Now you got some idea regarding the curvature of the earth and the plane, flat surface. So first I am going to discuss regarding this plane survey. So when we call a particular survey is the plane survey. So I will tell you now. So when we call a particular survey is plane survey, so see here, if you consider the earth surface or already existed ground surface is a flat surface. For suppose if I consider the ground surface is a flat surface, then in such particular things you may calculate the distance or you may measure the distance between 2 points. So that may be some L, or you people may calculate some area. So that area may be a rectangular area over the ground level. Let us consider this. I am going to draw one plot. So let us consider that this is a boundary of a particular plot from the top. So from top I am seeing this is 4 points. So let us take this is some A, B, C, D. You have measured the distance some L here between A and B. And the distance may be between bounded A and C, that may be some L1, this may be some L2, and this may be some L3. Okay, so now see here, so when you consider these points, if you calculate the area, so this is the plot, so under which you may be having some square, or you may be having some rectangle, or you may be having some, triangle, or you may be having some rectangle. Okay, so individually they have their own specifications, means own measurements. So now, as I told you, the line joining between 2 points is always straight. Flat surface we are considering, so therefore the distance is L. So this is a flat, so distance L1, distance L2, distance L3. These are the straight distances, not the curved distances. So likewise here for this square, for this triangle, and for this rectangle, all the lines we are joining each other are the straight lines, not the curved lines. Why? Because we are considering plane surveying is only applicable when the ground surface is straight or flat. Okay, so such particular survey, the type of survey, maybe that may be involved in the calculation of areas, that may be involved in the measurements of length, breadths and heights, whatever. So see, whenever you consider the ground level is straight, so such particular type of survey is called as plane surveying. Plane survey itself, it is representing that the ground surface is plane. That's all. Okay. So now I would like to tell you the geodetic surveying. Now you can see simply what is the geodetic surveying. So here we are considering the ground surface is straight. Instead of considering the straight, first suppose if you consider the ground surface as usual, as we know that the shape of the the shape of the ground is oblate spheroid or simply the spheroidal shape. So see in this, now regarding this, let me complete the figure. So this is the ground. So let us consider that this is the earth. So generally which is in the shape of oblate spheroid, not the circle. So in this, take any position. So now what I want to do is, I am just separating a part. I am just separating a part of earth. So let us take a ball and cut a part of the ball. So therefore you can see such particular shape. Okay. So now if you measure the length over any surface, for suppose let us take this is some A, B. So the length measured in the curved one. So this is not the straight line, this is a curved line. So likewise, if you measure the distance between some A and C position somewhere else here. So since earth shape is always at any surface, at any location, this may be location, or this may be, or this may be, this may be, this may be, whatever may be the location, the distance bounded between any consecutive points would be the curved distance. So therefore, all the distances are the curved distances. Likewise, on the same earth, if I plot the figures, likewise in the first case, let us go to the construction of some square. As we know, the line, any consecutive 2 points that are joining by which one? Curved line. So therefore, I am taking the same position. So let us take this is position 1, position 2, position 3 and position 4. As we know, wherever we go, always there may be the curvature. So therefore, the lines are not the straight lines. These lines joining the same four reference points are not the straight lines, curved lines. So likewise, if you want to plot a triangle, so triangle, any two consecutive, that is a curved line. So if I want to connect a rectangle, so here, 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 and this one. So this is how the difference, all the lines, even you calculate the area. So whatever the area that we calculate here, we call this one as the plane area. But because we are considering this one is the plane, simple plane, not the curved surfaces. We are having the straight line, so therefore we call these lines are the straight or plane lines, or straight lines. Straight lines. But whereas here, these lines are not the straight lines, curved lines. Curved lines. And we call the area that is calculated here as plane area. Plane area. And whereas the area calculated here is known as what? Curved area. Curved area. Okay. So here the area is plane, so here the area is curved, or you can also call this one as the spheroidal area. You can also call this one as spheroidal area. So now we got an idea what is plane survey and what is geodetic survey. Plane survey is something that involves in the measurements of areas or measurements of lines, measurements of the horizontal distances, measurements of vertical distances, whatever. If in that case, if we take the ground surface is flat, then we call the particular area as plane, and the measurement of everything. Likewise, in the first case, heights, distances, areas, which is involved in the second case, where we consider the actual ground shape. So that particular type of survey is known as geodetic survey. Okay, so now we will discuss what are the differences between plane surveying and geodetic surveying. Okay, so I am going to discuss now the differences between plane survey and geodetic survey. So I am going to write here the plane surveying. Then I'm going to write here geodetic surveying. Okay, so you must have to remember one thing that if you want to differentiate any two particulars, first we should know the minimum concept that what is geodetic and what is plane. As we discussed, here the ground is straight, here the ground is curved. Let us take the point A and point B, point A and point B. So first difference is, in this case, in first case, we consider that the ground surface is plane surface. We consider ground surface is plane surface. Even the existing surface is curved, we consider that one is plane. In the sense, what we are neglecting, and we are neglecting actual curvature of the earth. Curvature of the earth. Opposite to this one, what is the first one? Considering ground surface is the plane surface. What we are doing here? Ground surface is the curved surface. Okay. So where we are neglecting the statement, actual ground level. We consider the actual ground shape, or considering actual ground shape. Actual ground shape. Okay, this is the first thing. And what is the second one? While measuring the distances between any two consecutive A, B here, A, B there, the line joining between any two consecutive points is the which one? Straight line. But whereas here that line is curved line. That is the second one. Line joining any two points here in case of plane surveying is straight line, and whereas here the line joining any two consecutive points is a curved line. Here it is curved line. Okay, so this is the. So we look into the third one. So here the line joining any two consecutive is the straight line. Here it is the curved line. For suppose the area. For suppose I am forming a triangle here. So either it may be the any geometric figure that is formed over the ground level in case of plane surveying is a plane geometric figure. For suppose I am taking a plane geometric figure of triangle. Okay, plane geometric figure. But whereas in this case, here any geometric figure that is formed over the ground surface will become the geodetic geometric figure. So that becomes for the same points, for the same A. Let us name the points as A, B, and C. So therefore, here this may be A, this may be B, and this may be C. So now line joining any two consecutive points is a curved line. Okay, curved line. So therefore, what would be this area? This area is termed as geodetic area, and whereas here this area is termed as area bounded here is termed as plane area. But whereas here this area is geodetic area. Okay, so that is the difference. Area calculated here in the plane survey is known as plane area, but when it is considered in the same geodetic survey, we call that known as geodetic area. So now for the same figure, observe that the angle, fourth point is the angle. For suppose if I want to project an angle, I think it's better to write over here. So it's because I don't have a sufficient space. So the fourth point, we just consider the fourth point. We just look back to the fourth point. So the fourth point is for the same triangle over here. So you will be having some angle. Here this may be some angle. So here it may be some angle. Okay. So first, second, third. Theta 1, let us take plus theta 2. Let us take some theta 3. Bonded somewhere else over here. So theta A plus theta 2, theta 3. Otherwise from the same figure here, angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equals to 180 degrees. In most of the cases, angle A plus angle B plus angle C is compulsory is equals to 180 degrees. But whereas in the geodetic surveying, for such particular type of figure, triangle, let us take A. So here I got this is B, C. So some angle here, some angle here, some angle here. Okay. So A, B, C. So angle A plus angle B plus angle C is not equal to 180 degrees. In case of geodetic survey, since the angle bonding, the curvature itself, actually these dotted lines refers for the plane, but whereas the thick lines refer for the curve. So since this angle is different, this angle is different. This angle is different, this angle is different. So in all the cases, angle is greater. The plane angle is greater than this. Plane angle is less than the geodetic angle. So therefore, always the summation of angles may not equal to 180 degrees. At the same time, this is greater than 180 degrees. Otherwise, this could be, summation of angles could be greater than 180 degrees. And you have to remember that the angle bounded The angle bounded in the plane surveying is known as plane angle. Plane angle. And here we call this particular angle as geodetic angle. Geodetic angle. Okay. So this is the next difference. Now come to the fifth difference. I think you may got some idea where the measurement of lengths, measurements of areas. So now we got four different differentiations, and next we will go through the fifth one. So when we talk about in the fifth one, see, fifth one is really very important. Why? Because it's all based on the area. You may got some doubt in your mind that when we calculate the length, as I discussed in the first class, when we consider the smaller lengths, the distance is flat, that is okay. But when we go for the far distances, when you see, please stand on the road and see a 1 kilometer length, you can identify there may be some individuals, undulations on the ground level, but relatively you may see the flat ground. So look back to the 3 kilometers distance, again you may see the flat ground. So look back to some 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers. So with your naked eye, if you see to some extent of distance, always there may be a possibility to see the flat ground only, unless and until having some hills and valleys like that. So see here, what is the length? What is the particular limit to how much extent you see the ground level is flat? So when we exceed a particular limit, automatically the ground level is considered to be the curvature, or after some extent you can identify or you can see that the curvature of the earth with your naked eye. So this is all depending on the area. For suppose, for smaller areas, means plane surveying is only applicable for smaller areas. But whereas here, this particular type of survey is applicable for large areas. In the sense, when we consider the small ends, for suppose, wherever you see the distance, straight, you are identifying the three lines or straight lines mutually connected together, means automatically the area is a flat area. If you identify that, the line joining two consecutive points is a curved line, so the area automatically bounded is not a plane area. This is geodetic area where the curvature of earth is included. In the sense, what is the extension of the area? What is the extent of area up to which we consider the surveying is the plane surveying? And after crossing that limit, we can call the same surveying is the geodetic survey. So that is why the plane surveying is only applicable for smaller areas. But whereas this is applicable for larger areas. So that area limit is when area of plane survey or area calculated in plane survey is less than or equal to 250 kilometers square, then we call such a particular survey is plane survey. Okay, in the sense, only up to which extent 250 square kilometers. So after exceeding this 250 square kilometer area over the ground level, we call that particular survey as not plane survey. We call it known as geodetic survey. Means after exceeding this area, so when the area calculated even in the plane survey, or you can also take this one as the area calculated in geodetic survey, if it is greater than 250 kilometers square or 250 square kilometer, then we call such particular type of survey is geodetic survey. Okay, so that is the different rewarding area where area is limited to 250, means for smaller area. If it once exceeds 250, we call that one as the large area, and where area is greater than 250 square kilometers. Okay, so this is really very important. So in actual practice, here I want to tell one thing that in extension to the subject. So see, sir, what is the difference from the fourth point? As I told you here, summation of angle equal to 180 degrees, and from the fourth point somewhere else here in geodetic, I have told you that is greater than 180 degrees. But based on the same area, for suppose 8250 square kilometer, 250 kilometers square, I am considering this is plane and this is geodetic. So therefore automatically you can identify that the lengths are different. Length. These three lengths are different. Likewise here also the lengths are different. As usually the angles bounded are different. So how the angles are differed compared to the plane surveying and geodetic survey? So irrespective of the lengths that you measure in this triangle and in this triangle, plane triangle and geodetic triangle, if you calculate the area for every 195.7 kilometer square area, for every 195.7 kilometer square area, the difference between the summation of angles, summation of angles in the plane survey and summation of angles in the geodetic survey is equals to 1 second. 1 second. So 190 for 195.7 kilometers square area that is calculated in the plane survey and that is calculated in the geodetic survey means if we calculate this much of area by considering the ground surface is straight and calculate the same area by considering the ground surface is curvature, then the difference between the angles, included angles in the plane, included angles in the geodetic survey is how much? 1 second. Okay, this is really very important. But in most of the textbooks and our forefathers, they are conforming to 196 kilometers square by round figuring 196 kilometers square. So, but whatever may be the condition, but our Indian government, topological government of India, they are considering 250 square kilometers square is the limit. Okay, so this is important thing. And next, we just switch over to the next most important point, that the sixth difference. Like to tell you the sixth difference, that the plumb lines. So see, okay, I want to rub this. So plumb line is very important. So see, I am taking 2 points. So this figure, let us consider this figure here. Okay, so A, B. So generally masons, they use some plumb, which is in the shape of some triangle, to measure the verticality or to see the exact verticality. So if you take the plumb lines, two plumb lines at 2 different points here, and the same AB points in geodetic surveying. So let us take this is A, the same figure I am taking. Let us take this is B, and now this is the curve. Okay. So plumb point is something. So the line of plumb is something that which is exactly perpendicular, exactly 90 degrees to the ground surface. So likewise here also exactly 90 degrees to the ground surface. So if you extend the action of this line into the ground, they do not meet at any position. At this particular, at some distance, at some depth from ground surface, let us take this is some D. So at D depth, the distance between A and B would be the same again, the plumb line distance. So again, at some D1 distance, at the depth of some D1, again the distance bounded between these two plumb lines is same. By means you can understand one thing that the plumb lines, the two different plumb lines in plane surveying could not meet each other at any location below the ground level or above the ground level, and they are mutually parallel to each other. These two plumb lines are mutually parallel to each other. Okay. But whereas on this one, if you want to erect a perpendicular on a curved surface, you must have to construct one tangent. So like this, for suppose let us take this is a circle. So if you want to take a 90 degrees line, first what you have to do means, I am asking you people to draw a 90 degrees, means perpendicular a point A. First of all you need to draw one tangent. So after drawing the tangent, for this tangent at this particular A, so with 90 degrees to the joint tangent, so draw a line. So this line will become the perpendicular line to the point A. So likewise, at this A, I am drawing one tangent, okay, and at this B, I am drawing one tangent. So I am naming the tangent as some T1 here and some T2 here. Now I am locating the plumb line which is making 90 degrees to the T2, and another plumb line at A, again this making 90 degrees to the T1. So now try to extend these two tangent lines into the ground. So try to extend these two tangent lines into the ground. So they compulsory meet. So initially they may be far away, but when you get a deeper depth or at any certain depth, so by getting into the inside of the earth, automatically the distance bonding between these two consecutive imaginary plumb lines is reducing, and they are finally meet at a particular point. That may be the CG of earth. Okay. So here in this case, above the ground level, these plumb lines may not be in contact with one another, but when you go for the centroid of the ground or some extent under the ground level, automatically at certain point these two plumb lines will coincide each other. But whereas here they do not coincide and they are parallel to each other, but here they do not, they coincide each other and they are not parallel to each other. So this is the sixth most important difference between plane surveying and geodetic surveying. So these are the primary divisions of surveying. In next class, we will see the secondary divisions of surveying. So now I would like to write here the secondary divisions of surveying. Then we will go through the explanation in the next class. Okay? Right. We will see the secondary divisions of surveying. So what do you think of secondary divisions? Primary divisions, this is based on the curvature of the earth. So next we have secondary divisions. So we will see what are the secondary divisions now. Okay? Secondary divisions are secondary divisions, or you can also call this one as secondary classification. Secondary classification of survey. Okay. So secondary classification of surveying is basically classified based on three major categories. First one, secondary classification or secondary divisions are classified based on three categories. First one is based on instruments used. Based on instruments used. And second one is based on objective or purpose. Based on objective or purpose. And third one is based on method. Based on method of survey or method of doing survey. And the fourth one is based on profile of land. Profile of land. Okay. So these are the main classification of surveying, or we can also call this one as based on field. Based on field. Okay. So these four are the major classifications that are involved in the secondary divisions or secondary classification. Again, we have sub-classification based on instruments used. For suppose, for doing some particular survey, for suppose if you people want to measure a land, or if you people want to measure an area of a particular figure over the ground surface, so the type of instrument, there are so many different types of instrument that you can use. Likewise, if you want to measure the angle bounded between any two consecutive lines, so for this particular purpose, we use some different types of instruments. So based on that, what type of instruments we are using, based on that we have classification, and then based on the objective or the purpose, for what purpose we are using the survey. Either you are going to build a structure, or you are going to construct a road, or you are going to construct anything other any civil engineering structure. So based on that, based on the object to fulfill, we have classification. Then based on the method of survey, what type of survey we are using. We have two different methods of surveys actually. First one is the triangulation and second one is the traversing. I will discuss in the further classes. And then based on the profile of land or field. So land contains so many features as I told you. For suppose topography, when we say the topography of the land, that may be contain some water bodies, that may be contain some forests, that may be contain some built up areas. So based on that field, what type of field is available over there on the ground level? For suppose we have what do we call space survey. Even you can do space or aerial surveys. So we will discuss all those things in the next class. So thank you. Thanks a lot.